Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Angela Porter. We'll be discussing her fantastic book, Man's Destiny Unplugged. 7 amazing years I spent living with Jesus on Earth. Available for purchase through Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. And I will say, Angela was brought to our network today by some of the best movers in the business, Blueprint Press Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, do yourself a favor and contact Blueprint Press. And you can find out more information on them at BlueprintInternational.com. So listen, without further ado, let's jump right in. Angela, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, the pleasure is all ours, okay? We're very much looking forward to this, and very much looking forward to this education that we're going to be able to receive. Now, I know we have so much information to cover, Angela, but before we jump into the book, let's hold off slightly. Start by articulating to our listening audience a little bit more about yourself, please.
My name is Angela Porter. I was born in Jamaica, the country of Jamaica, in the West Indies. And I came to this country as an adult at about the age of 23. I attended college in the United States. And for much of my years here in America, I've worked in the law, corporate law, as you mentioned, I think, earlier. And so sometime around 2005, the Lord told me that I would be leaving the law firm. At that point, I did not know why I was going to be leaving. But then as 2005 got going, sometime about mid-2005, then he told me that he wanted me to leave. And I asked where. He told me I should go to a warm place. I should choose a place of whatever, but I should go to a warm place. And so I went to Florida. I decided to go to Florida. And so I terminated my employment with the law firm in New York. And then I purchased a home in Naples, Florida, and I moved there in July 2005. And so I started working with another firm in Naples, Florida, and I worked with them for about 4 months. And then I was in Naples for about a year and a half. I got sort of bored there. It's not, it's a very beautiful place, but it's not sort of like a fast-moving place. And so eventually, the Lord told me again that He wanted me to leave. And so this time I left and I went to West Palm Beach, Florida. I was in West Palm Beach from the end of 2006 until 2010. And then the Lord told me in 2010, but during that time, there were a number of things that took place in the span of the time I got to West Palm Beach until the time I left. And so the Lord, I guess, was sort of, allowing these things to take place. And so at that point, I told me eventually that I should leave. Now, when He told me to leave, I did not know where I was going and what the future held. But I obeyed, and so after leaving there, I ended up in Tampa, and that was when sort of all of the the essence of man's destiny sort of developed in the person of Jesus Christ, and how I came in contact with Him, and the relationship that developed from there. And so it is an amazing read. As anyone who reads it will see, and much can be learned from it about my journey, because as a child, since a child, the Lord has been relating to me, and all of that is, referenced in the book. And so the fact is that I had this relationship with him whereby whenever as a child I needed any situation, and there are some examples in the book when I prayed, and he answered my prayers directly. And so I came to understand that he's not just like the figment of, one's imagination, but that he's in fact real. And so there were many such instances when I prayed as a child, and then, he answered, and times when I was in sort of difficult situations, and those are also, in the book, explained in the book. And so in difficult situations where he came and he rescued me, one time I was like bathing in a river in Jamaica, and I was drowning, and I was there with a number of youngsters like myself. I think at the time I was about 12 or 13. And so I was going up and down in this deep part of the river that we were bathing, and it was my, a cousin of mine, and, like a brother, two of my sisters, and maybe some friends, neighborhood friends. And so as I was going down and coming up in the water, and then I could no longer, I felt like I was kind of losing all of my energy and my strength. And so then I prayed, I said, Lord, please help me. And the moment I said that, then my cousin looked in my direction, and he saw me going up and down, and they quickly came and they pulled me out to shore. And so then when I got there, I was pretty much sort of like, almost kind of like lifeless, but then they put me there, and I sort of laid on the gravel on the shore. And then I was there for a while. My nostrils were burning, and I felt sort of like helpless, but I just lay there for a while, and eventually, my strength came. My strength came back, Another time as a child, again, I was sort of a tomboy of sorts. And so I went to a neighbor's yard, and I climbed, there's a fruit in Jamaica that's called an ackee, ackee. It's sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it comes in a pod, and when it is matured, then the pod opens up, and then it reveals the fruit. And then in Jamaica, people would cook. You cook the fruit that comes in the pod, it's called ackee. And so I was very fond of it as a child. And so I would go occasionally to the neighbors, whatever tree, ackee trees, and I would ask them permission if I could fix them, and they would say yes, and I would go. This particular day, I went to this neighbor's home, and I got permission from the gentleman to climb a tree. And he said, yes, it was a big tree, big tree, but I was really quite a tomboy. And so I went up in the tree, and just as I got up in the tree, I don't remember if my hands just got loose or if a limb broke, but I was coming down on my back. And this was a huge tree, and they were like huge exposed trunks, roots rather, exposed roots at the bottom of the tree. And so as my hands got loose from the thing, and I was coming down, I was face up, so my back was face down there. And as I remember the big roots down there, and I said, Lord, please help me, I don't want to die. Something that I prayed a prayer. And then, just then, I felt like someone flipped me in the sitting position. And so by the time I came from way up in the tree and fell to the ground, I did fall on the root, that big exposed root at the tree, like a huge, thing. And I fell right on my buttocks. And so I could not move. I was there for about a half hour. I just could not move. But it was the soft part of my buttocks there. And so I knew that nothing was broken. And so I sat there for a while. And then eventually I went and I, slowly made my way home. And then when I got home, I told my mom. And, I just kind of went and, lie down. And then within maybe an hour or so, the pain was gone. And so I knew for sure as a child that God is, and that when we pray that he does hear and he answers. And so that's where my journey began, with knowing that he is indeed in heaven.
Here on the line with Angela Porter. We're discussing her fantastic book, Man's Destiny Unplugged, 7 Amazing Years I Spent Living with Jesus on Earth. Now, Angela, thank you so much for all of the information that you've relayed thus far. Curiosity, really, my next question that I'd love to go into is really the concept of inspiration. Now, it's clear to see what inspired you to really document all of these experiences that you have had. Now, you very easily could have documented it just for yourself, or documented it and had it for, family members. But you didn't end there. You took it a step further and you published the book and put it out for the masses. Why was it important for you to do that? What inspired you to publish this book for the public to be able to partake in as well?
Well, in keeping with the way that the Lord directs me, in 2003, I was living in Elmont, Long Island. And one Saturday morning, I woke up and I was lying in bed. And then the Lord started speaking to me. And so I went and got a yellow legal pad, and I started, writing everything that he was saying to me. And at the time, he told me that there was going to be like a tsunami in Asia. And so I did not know that was the first time I was hearing the word tsunami. I did not know what it was. So I kind of wrinkled my face. And the minute I wrinkled my face, I saw, like in the spirit, a mound of water that came up in front of me. And so a few months later, I think I heard that there was a tsunami somewhere in Japan and many people died and so on, And so on that very morning, he told me that he wanted me to write a book, Man's Destiny Unplugged. And so about a few months later, I attempted to write the book, but I could get nothing at all. I think they call it sort of like an author's block or writer's block or something. But anyway, nothing could come at all. And so I was there, and a few other times I attempted again to write, to see whatever. I just could not come up with anything at all. I didn't know where to begin. And so after leaving the firm, as I told you earlier, in 2005, as the Lord instructed me to do, then and going to Tampa in 2010, then I meeting Jesus there. So in 2012, January 2012, Jesus and I left Tampa and we went to Jamaica. So we landed at the Norman Manley International Airport, and so we found our way. We went all around Jamaica, and eventually we ended up, residing in a place called Mandeville, a beautiful place, a city in Jamaica. And so one day we were at home there, and I just started getting, it's like the Lord just began speaking. And so I ran again and I got a pad and I started, writing. And it's like he was dictating to me, and everything he was whatever. And I just kept writing. And so that was how it came about, because he gave me the title in 2003. And so in about 2013, then he started dictating to me. And so pretty much everything in the book, is what he dictated to me. And so the last few chapters of the book were the final, after, Jesus departed at some point. At some point he departed temporarily. And so, the last few chapters of the book sort of really details, all of that, how we left and so on, and sort of like the impact it had on me, etc. So to answer your question, Benji, it's that, yes, the Lord gave me the title, and it was he who also dictated the material. And I was pretty much just the instrument that took the information and, did the publishing of the book.
Mm-hmm. A next concept that I'd like to go into, Angela, what would you say was a highlight for you in writing this book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't expecting prior to embarking upon the journey?
Well, since it was dictated to me, then I can't say what it was a challenge in doing so, in writing it. But the process of sort of getting the book published, in dealing with the publishers and, going through that, the methodology and the journey to sort of from, the beginning of it to the ending of it was, I suppose, the part that was most surprising, because a lot of the things that happened during the course of doing so, because I was not familiar with the process, this was my first book that I published, then I found I found some things a bit challenging, at times. And so I would say that was, for me, the unexpected.
Angela, question for me, and I really want to summarize everything here because there's been so much information we've already discussed, and thank you for that. But I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, okay? In your mind, articulate to our listening audience, Angela, who is Jesus to you, and how is that reflected in your book?
Thanks for asking that question, Benji, because I believe it's important for everyone to know that Jesus is indeed a person and that he's real. And there are so many instances in the book where Jesus revealed himself to me. As I said, I spent 7 years with him, and those were literal years that I was with him in person, and he was also in person. And so that is all, detailed in the book. There's a chapter in there that says how God led me from danger to safety. And that is the most remarkable, I think that may be one of the most remarkable chapters in there, because it details, a situation that I was going through in my life. And it's the way that Jesus was there. I mean, at every turn, he was guiding me, talking to me, telling me what to do and what not to do, when to stop and when to go. And it is because of that why I came out of that situation alive. I mean, it is a most remarkable scenario. And there was one time when he even told me that I was going to get to a hospital, and that once I got to the hospital, they were going to try to destroy me to get an organ out of me to put into a little boy. And when I got to the hospital, he showed me the little boy with the cut straight down his back. And the minute I got to the hospital that evening, at about it was dark, it had just gotten dark. And then I went to a room. The room had a lot of vats and a lot of things in there that I never ever saw at any hospital that I've ever been to. So this was a sort of like a specific area in the hospital that certain things were done, not where patients were sort of being treated. And so I kind of wondered why I was taken there. About 5 minutes after I was there, the little boy came down with a hospital gown, with the back of his thing open. And so the Lord had told me that this was going to happen, and he showed me the boy. And the minute I saw the boy came down, I just started singing and praising the Lord and speaking in tongues. And so the Lord had told me before that, so while at the same time he told me when he showed me the boy, he said that it was not going to happen because it was going to cause the machines to break down. And so the fact is that as I was there singing and speaking in tongues and worshiping the Lord, and the boy was sitting there and I was there as well, I saw a doctor came in his scrub uniform, light blue with a cap on his head, a little plastic cap, and he went in there in a room with a lot of bats and everything. A few minutes after he was there, I heard him say, the machines, we're going to have to wait because the machines are broken down. And so after a while, I was there for a long time until I even fell asleep. And then the morning when I woke up, then I found myself about 5 o'clock in the morning being transferred to another hospital. So what happened is that I did not go there for anything having to do with an operation or anything at all. I just was not feeling well. And so I did not even see a doctor when I went into that hospital. But the minute I got there, I don't know how this came about or how they knew that I was sort of like their experiment or what they were going to do. But I know that the Lord told me that they were going to be taking out an organ from me to put into this boy, and so that at that point they would destroy me and I guess discard me. And so had he not told me that information prior, then I would not have been aware of what was going on in order for me to start praising the Lord and to have the presence and the power of the Lord do what he did, which is what he told me beforehand, that he was going to cause the machines to break down and therefore they will not be able to do what they intend to do. So it is in these ways that God is so real and Jesus is so real, and that whenever any issue comes up in an individual's life, if you come into a relationship with him, he will definitely guide you through and be there with you and help you to navigate whatever your circumstances are to, a desired end. And so it is in these type of ways that I want people to know from the book, Man's Destiny Unplugged, 7 Amazing Years I Spent with Jesus on the Earth, that God is and that he's real, and that if you only come to know him and to trust him, then it will be the greatest experience that you'll ever have in your life. He takes the struggles away and he's there to help you in any situation that you have in which you need help, And so there are so many. That's just one of the examples that I've given, but there are just so many that are detailed in the book. And that is why it is so important for everyone to get a copy of the book. It's $9.99, and it will be the best $9.99 that I think that you'll ever spend, because there's just so much in there that you learn about who God is, that is not really, from the ancient biblical times, but to know that today in 2021 that he is still God and he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. It does not change, as the Bible says, and he's always there for us, so that he can help us in our times of difficulties. And so that's pretty much what I'd like to say, on the basis of that question.
As we start to tie up this fantastic interview, Angela, being an artist myself, and I'm in a different medium. I'm an actor and a filmmaker here based in Los Angeles. But, I love having this platform to be able to pay it forward to other artists out there listening in. Now, I know you just said this is the first book that you've written. So it was a bit of a journey for yourself to kind of learn the procedure and, get everything completed. But at the end of the day, given where we are now, you are an accomplished author. Okay, you've been through the process of writing the book, and you've gone through the gauntlet of getting the book published. And anybody that has gone through the process understands that writing the book is only half the battle, right? Getting it published is a complete endeavor in and of itself. But I would be doing my listening audience a disservice if I didn't ask this next question, Angela. What words of wisdom would you be able to articulate to our listening audience? Anybody out there listening in that's a new writer or somebody just starting out, what words of wisdom would you like to give them?
In an age where we've got the internet and that there's so many people out there, putting up information and about publishing, I think that it is imperative that, whoever is embarking on this journey, that you do a thorough research of the company that you are intending and using, and that you make sure that you have got everything pretty much in writing and clarified, so that there are no speed bumps when you start the process, And so I think that that's one of the most important things I've learned about doing business by way of cyberspace. You cannot go to the brick and mortar and knock on the door and say, well, can I see X, Y, Z? And so, you speak with individuals on the phone, and so you get into agreements with them. They can disappear at any time, and then you're kind of left in the lurch. And so I find that it is very important that you sort of really carry out your own interview with that individual or individuals, who represent to you the face of the company that you're going to be dealing with, and that you sort of get to know the person maybe a little bit based on the questions you're asking, to be sure, that they have been in existence for a while and that they are a company of integrity And, whatever other information you can find out about them, then I think that would be most useful and helpful to, anyone who is embarking on this journey.
There you have it. Fantastic words of wisdom. I absolutely love it. Guys, listen, I could sit here and I could talk to Angela for hours. Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So you know what you have to do. The onus is on you now. Amazon, Barnes & Noble are the places you have to go. Man's Destiny Unplugged. 7 Amazing Years I Spent Living with Jesus on Earth is the book you have to pick up. And Angela Porter is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. You surely will not be disappointed. Angela, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Thank you for having me.